Southwest Boeing 737 MAX 8 jets have had a string of in-flight emergencies, and every one of them landed safely. So what's actually going on? We'll examine a series of in-flight incidents, from smoke-filled cockpits to rare Dutch rolls, and the investigations that followed. We'll break down the NTSB's urgent findings on engine design and look at what we know and don't about events still under review. And to be clear, these recent Southwest emergencies are completely separate from the two 737 MAX crashes in 2018 and 2019 that killed 346 people, which involved different airlines and the MCOS system. Every one of these recent events landed safely. So let's dive in. Between 2023 and 2026, a string of in-flight emergencies on Southwest Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8 aircraft made headlines. Flights declared emergencies and diverted from New Orleans, Havana, Denver, and even over the Pacific. But here's what's crucial. In every single one of these incidents, the crews landed the aircraft safely. No one was injured and no one died. These are not the MAX crashes you may remember from 2018 and 2019. Those involved different airlines and a different problem. So what is going on with these Southwest planes? Are they facing a systemic issue? Over the next few minutes, we'll explore the evidence, starting with a terrifying ordeal: smoke filling the cockpit. On December 20th, 2023, Southwest Flight 554 departed New Orleans. Shortly after takeoff, the Boeing 737 MAX 8 struck a bird. The bird was ingested into the left engine, and almost immediately, the flight deck began to fill with what the crew described as acrid white smoke. It was so thick, according to the NTSB, that the captain had difficulty seeing the instrument panel. The pilots donned their oxygen masks and managed to land the plane safely back in New Orleans. No one was injured. But the question was, how did a bird strike lead to a cockpit full of smoke? The NTSB's investigation uncovered a critical mechanical chain reaction. They found that the engine's load reduction device, or LRD, designed to protect the engine, can actually cause damage to the oil system. This damage allows smoke from hot oil to enter the ventilation system and fill the cockpit. This was a deeply concerning discovery because it wasn't just a bird strike problem. In fact, a similar event had already occurred in March of 2023 when vapor fog filled the cabin of another Southwest flight after departing Havana, Cuba. On June 18, 2025, the NTSB took the rare step of issuing urgent safety recommendations. They warned that pilots flying planes with CFM LEAP 1B engines must be aware of the potential for smoke in the cockpit if that load reduction device activates during a critical phase of flight. But the smoke-filled cockpit in New Orleans was just one piece of a larger puzzle. Coming up, we look at the other incidents that kept investigators busy, including a rare and unnerving event known as a Dutch roll. While the engine smoke problem kept making headlines, that wasn't the only thing Southwest's MAX 8 fleet went through. Let's walk through the other events factually, one by one. In May 2024, a Southwest 737 MAX 8 experienced a rare Dutch roll event, a kind of uncommanded tail wagging that crews are trained to correct. The FAA is investigating that incident, and the cause is not yet confirmed. A year later, in May 2025, Flight 168 took a lightning strike. The pilots followed their procedures, declared an emergency, and landed safely at Denver. No one was hurt. Then in July 2026, Flight WN-139 diverted to Honolulu over the Pacific. The crew reported an issue about 90 minutes into a flight from Maui to Las Vegas, and they handled it exactly as they should, getting the plane on the ground without incident. That situation is still under active investigation, so anything beyond it landed safely would be pure speculation right now. The inescapable pattern across all of these events is that the crews handled them safely. But this sequence does force a question. How does a modern airline navigate the shadow of a plane's past? To understand today's concerns, we must revisit the 737 MAX darkest chapter. In October 2018, Lion Air Flight 610 crashed, killing 189. In March 2019, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 went down, claiming 157 more. Total, 346 deaths. The cause traced to a new automated system, MCOS, which Boeing hadn't fully disclosed to pilots. The MAX was grounded worldwide for nearly 2 years. Now, let's be blunt. Those crashes involved different airlines and MCAS. The recent Southwest incidents we covered, the smoke, the Dutch roll, the lightning, the diversion, are separate. MCAS wasn't involved, and all landed safely, with no fatalities. And while some of those investigations are still ongoing, that much is certain. But the shadow of that history persists. The FAA continues to face scrutiny, and the Southwest Pilots Association is suing Boeing, alleging the company misled them about the MAX safety. So, after all this, where do things stand? We'll look at that next. So where does all this leave us? The NTSB has now issued urgent safety recommendations to address the potential for engine oil smoke entering the cockpit of LEAP 1B powered 737 MAX jets. While that investigation is complete, other incidents, like the Dutch roll event and the recent Pacific diversion, remain open. The FAA and regulators around the world continue to watch the MAX very closely. For their part, both Southwest and Boeing state that the safety of passengers and crew is their highest priority. And it's worth repeating, in every one of the recent Southwest incidents we've covered, the crew followed their training and everyone landed safely. There were no fatalities, but there are still real, unanswered engineering and oversight questions. It's not about fear, it's about the facts. The machines we trust our lives to demand rigorous, honest scrutiny. That's what makes the system safer, for anyone who looks up at a contrail and wonders. So what does this mean if you fly? First, a clear factual baseline. The Boeing 737 MAX 8 is FAA certified, flies millions of passengers every week, and in every recent Southwest emergency, from smoke in the cockpit to the mid-Pacific diversion, crews landed safely without injuries. The 346 lives lost in the 2018 to 2019 crashes were separate, tied to the now-resolved MCAS system and different carriers. The NTSB and FAA continue active oversight. Urgent safety recommendations on the LEAP 1B smoke risk are being acted on. That kind of scrutiny is the system working. This is general information, not personal advice. The decision to fly is yours. Real questions remain under investigation, like the Dutch roll and the July 2026 diversion, but the pattern here is informed calm, not fear. Everyone went home. From the smoke in the cockpit to the Dutch roll, each incident landed safely. The NTSB has already acted on the engine issue, while other investigations are still unfolding. They are separate from the MAX tragedies. Separating fact from fear is vital. Every finding makes the skies safer. If you value real aviation reporting, please subscribe. We'll keep bringing you the investigations that matter.